In the cutthroat world of billion-dollar corporations, there are many evil empires. These empires will do wildly illegal and unethical things, just to make a few extra bucks. Most times, the individuals who run these companies are motivated only by profits and will do anything to achieve what their own greed desires. But one particular company, who was run by a family of doctors, reigned supreme in the world of corporate greed. Their very name is associated with an epidemic of pain and hundreds of thousands of lost lives. Not only did they persuade doctors into prescribing lethal drugs to patients, but they laughed all the way to the bank while they did it. This is the story of Perdue Pharma, a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical company who produced one of the most dangerous and addictive drugs to exist, and was run by one of the most evil families in America, the Sacklers. But before we dive into their story, we must first discover their beginnings, which were surprisingly humble. The Sacklers were immigrants who arrived in the United States from Europe in the early 20th century, looking for new opportunities and a fresh start. Born to Jewish immigrants in Brooklyn, the Sackler brothers, Arthur, Mortimer, and Raymond, followed their unique paths as they pursued their American dreams. Arthur, the eldest of the siblings, was a trailblazer in the field of marketing and advertising, specifically in the medical field. He played a pivotal role in helping healthcare companies market their products. Mortimer, a marketing visionary in his own right, used his talents in other areas, while Raymond, the third brother, found his passion in the world of pharmaceuticals. He became a pioneer in the industry, contributing to the development of drugs and medical advancements. Their diverse expertise and interests laid the foundation for their eventual venture into the pharmaceutical landscape. As the Sackler brothers carved out their unique paths, they would soon find themselves at the intersection of medicine, marketing, and pharmaceuticals. This is when Arthur, the eldest brother, had a pivotal realization early in his career, a realization that would later lead the family down the path of corruption. Arthur understood that the real power, and indeed the real money, lay in the marketing of pharmaceutical drugs. His vision was simple but profound. By skillfully promoting pharmaceutical products, you could shape the course of an entire industry. Driven by this insight, Arthur established himself as a marketing pioneer in the medical field. He devised innovative strategies to promote drugs and medical products, setting the stage for what would become the family's foray into the pharmaceutical industry. This vision and expertise eventually drew the Sackler family's attention to Perdue Pharma, a pharmaceutical company that would later pioneer one of the most dangerous drugs in world history. Thus, their journey began, and in 1952, the three brothers purchased Perdue Pharma for an undisclosed amount of money. At first, their intentions appeared noble, as they sought to help cancer patients suffering from severe pain. Their flagship product, MS Contin, was initially designed for this very purpose. It was during this period that Arthur Sackler, the marketing visionary of the family, played a pivotal role in establishing the company's reputation. However, tragedy struck when Arthur passed away in 1987, leaving a void in the family's leadership. This event marked the beginning of a turbulent period for Perdue Pharma, as the Sacklers quickly realized they were doomed without Arthur at the head of the company, and things needed to change. This is when the company embarked on a fateful transition. It was a transition marked by a stark departure from their initial focus on cancer pain relief to one driven by the pursuit of profit and a desperate bid to revive the now struggling Perdue Pharma. In 1996, Perdue unveiled OxyContin, a powerful and highly addictive opioid painkiller. The company's motivation was clear. This transition was about money, and OxyContin was their ticket to unprecedented profits. The drug's release in 1996 was followed by a staggering 670,000 prescriptions in 1997, a foreshadowing of the impending crisis. But it was in 1999, when Richard Sackler, Raymond's son, assumed the role of president of Perdue Pharma, that things took a darker and more aggressive turn. Under Richard Sackler's leadership, OxyContin sales skyrocketed. By 2002, the company had distributed over 6 million prescriptions of the drug, and the impact was devastating. The aggressive marketing tactics and the aggressive push for OxyContin sales were instrumental in what would become one of the darkest chapters in the pharmaceutical industry's history. And due to these tactics, there was a massive surge in OxyContin prescriptions that had dire consequences. OxyContin is a potent opioid painkiller which had a devastating impact on those who were prescribed it. Its highly addictive nature led to a rapid increase in addiction rates. To understand the scale of the issue, consider this. By the early 2000s, the United States had less than 5% of the world's population, yet it was consuming approximately 80% of the world's opioid supply. This was partly due to the effects of OxyContin on the body, which were profound. Not only did it provide pain relief, but it also generated a euphoric high. But there was one major flaw. OxyContin's effects would wear off sooner than most patients were led to believe, resulting in withdrawal symptoms on a daily basis. As a result, it became a magnet for misuse and addiction. People desperate for quicker effects resorted to crushing the pills and snorting them, which released a massive dose of the drug all at once. This only intensified the addiction cycle. And by 2003, studies estimated that 20% of OxyContin users had developed a substance use disorder, a staggering statistic that painted a grim picture of the epidemic. But this wasn't by mistake. Even though hundreds of thousands of people were turning into addicts overnight, the Sacklers kept raking in cash. With a staggering $30 million a week in revenue, Perdue Pharma had no plans of slowing down. But how were they able to achieve such rapid growth and hide their evil nature from the eyes of the public? The answer lies in the marketing tactics employed by Perdue Pharma, and more specifically, Richard Sackler, which aggressively promoted OxyContin as a miracle painkiller, downplaying its potential for addiction. Perdue Pharma, driven by profit, made bold claims about OxyContin's safety. They infamously stated that the drug had less than a 1% addiction rate, a claim that would later be proven to be dangerously misleading. They targeted doctors, persuading them to prescribe OxyContin over other painkillers, emphasizing its long-lasting effects. This marketing strategy was highly successful, leading to an increased number of prescriptions. Perdue Pharma's sales representatives played a crucial role. They would visit pharmacies, clinics, and doctors' offices, relentlessly encouraging them to prescribe more OxyContin. But here's where it takes an even more sinister turn. Sales representatives were paid bonuses based on the amount of milligrams prescribed. This created a perverse incentive, as reps were rewarded for pushing higher doses of OxyContin. As a result, they had a direct financial incentive to promote a drug that was causing untold harm. But how were they able to get away with this for so long? The answer is a tragic one. Perdue Pharma's aggressive marketing tactics, deceptive claims, and the pursuit of profit at any cost played a significant role in creating an opioid crisis that would haunt the nation. But eventually, the consequences for Perdue Pharma finally caught up with them. In 2019, they filed for bankruptcy amidst a barrage of legal battles and public outrage. Facing an avalanche of lawsuits and mounting evidence of their culpability in the opioid crisis, Perdue Pharma was forced to reckon with the devastation they had unleashed. Ultimately, the company reached a settlement in which they agreed to pay $6 billion over the course of 2 decades. But here's the catch. They did not have to admit any wrongdoing, saving them from any time behind bars. This settlement, at first glance, might appear as a substantial financial penalty. However, it's worth noting that this deal is remarkably favorable for the Sackler family. With a payout spanning 20 years, the interest rates on this settlement will likely cover most of the cost. For Perdue Pharma, it is a comparatively lenient resolution. But what do you think? Should there have been more stringent penalties attached to such a heinous operation? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story of corruption, you need to check out this video on the criminals who dressed as police officers and managed to steal $500 million in just 81 minutes. I'll see you there.